Welcome to yet another episode of Unyielding Voices. The episodes are now piling up, but we'll keep them coming, and we hope that you enjoy each of them as they come. Today, I am with two amazing, strong, courageous ladies for the episode. I don't know why they're holding their faces as if I'm lying. But I'm with them. So I have my co-host, Merab.
Hello.
And we are going to host Mutuzo Micheline.
Hello. I don't know how I feel about the whole strong, courageous thing. Like every time someone says it, I like cringe of.
Am I strong?
I feel like if you're Ugandan, you know there's that saying by Bob Marley that you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only way out. Your only option. I feel like if you're Ugandan and you're putting up with all this mess, you're strong in a way.
Yeah, but like in the context with which you're saying it, like I think the context you're using is of she is strong and courageous.
I think you are.
I am not.
You are courageous.
I am not. I am a coward. And like I keep saying this and like people think I am joking, but I am one of the biggest cowards.
Maybe your definition of coward is different. Because the things that you do, I don't think a coward can do what you do. So you're strong, you're courageous. I know that maybe you can feel, those moments come when you feel like, no, I don't think I'm strong enough for this. I'm just, but I think you are really strong.
I appreciate that you think
we are
that.
strong women,
Yes.
So, here we build power and resist oppression. These podcasts are basically for activists. Mainly activists. And you know, someone challenged me recently and said, but who is an activist? And he said, seems like everyone can be an activist at any point. And that's really true. That we've seen people who were oppressors become activists become oppressors. Like sometimes it's just which side of the spectrum you're on in a particular issue. I've seen people who are very, very strong resistors of oppression from the state. Then when you point out that this looks like oppression, but it's coming from the mosque, and they're like, no, you cannot talk about that. Or if it's oppression, but it's coming from a cultural institution, they're like, my culture, I'll keep my culture, as long as it's not the politics. Yes, but so Mutuzo is in many ways an activist. Mutuzo, for those who may not know, was very instrumental in helping. I worked with her personally. During the march to parliament. I think that's when we actually became friends. Before that, we were just like, I knew there was someone called Mutuzo causes trouble on Twitter. And I think she knew there was this good guy called Toko who doesn't cause any trouble on Twitter.
Toko doesn't cause trouble on Twitter like that, but like he causes trouble in real life. You know, like the first time I was at law school, Toko was at law school. I think you were like the GRC.
Yes, I was GRC, 2016.
And he was chaos. And he's trying to judge me for being chaos on Twitter. Like, and I think he's the real object of chaos.
He's the guy who goes to Twitter, puts stuff there, and then people cause the chaos that he gets and
then he walks away.
But going back to what I said, one thing Mutuzo has really been consistent about, should we say deadbeat father hunting? Like she's been so consistent about the plight of single mothers in Uganda. I don't know if you've seen the statistics. The statistics are glaring. There's so many.
They're so bad.
They're so bad. There's so many children in this country growing up with a single mother. I could say single parent, but no, it's a single mother. Because many times it's the parents, the father leaves the mother to take over. And it's not just a Ugandan thing. I could go to history. And there's this bit of children who grew up to be people who are very instrumental. And then you find out that, they didn't grow up with a father. Go talk of Bob Marley. Bob Marley didn't grow up with a father. Bob Marley's father was white, the mother was black. The father was a colonial administrator who got the mother pregnant and then literally abandoned the mother in Jamaica. And then he grew up very poor, in poverty, and all that with a single mother who took Trevor Noah, if you read Born a Crime. Trevor Noah grew up with a single mother. Okay, the father could come in once in a while, he could go and visit his father, but it was mainly the mother taking Lucky Dube. Like there's so many names, he could go on and on. But sometimes circumstances where the father passes on, maybe it was harder to connect in the past and all that. I'm not trying to excuse deadbeat fathers. But in today's world, it is even worse because now the economic pressures are much higher. Everything is money. We now know with science and research that children are better off growing with both parents. If I forget, there's one book I read that made an argument and said, mothers tend to be soft, generally, on their children, and fathers tend to be a bit hard. So it was saying that to raise very good children, need a balance. Kids need to know when to be soft and when to be hard. So if you have only one quality, if you're too hard, I must get my way, sometimes it doesn't work out. But if you're too soft again, sometimes it doesn't work out. I'm not saying that all kids who grow up with single mothers are going to be too soft. No, I'm just saying that in the general spectrum, many times it's good when both parents are present in the child's life. So that's what, for me, I appreciate Mutuzo for that. She's really made it her life goal, if I could say. and Twitter has been like one space that she's done that so much.
Yeah.
So if I could start with the question of how did it become the thing for you? Yeah, how did it start?
First of all, I want to just I don't know, I disagree with what you just said. First of all, I think the whole idea of father is harsh, mother is soft, has like that patriarchal connotation. You get like you're basically saying, oh, a woman cannot be this, you know. For me, I grew up in a home where my mom was like, my dad never used to cane us or
same for me.
But my mom
was the hard person.
We were like, my mom was very strict. She would be the one punishing us mostly. Like, my dad would come in like once in a while, maybe. But the point is that the woman can be harsh too. I was this past week, I was in like a training where a guy said the mom was so soft, and like before the dad, I don't remember if it was passed away or left, but before the dad got out of the picture, there's certain things that he would never do, right? And then when the dad got out of the picture, now the mom would like let it go, or it's okay, I want to go here and but this is what I think. It is very hard to be fully a father and fully a mother with as one parent. Whether it's the single dad or single mom, it's very difficult to be 200% when you are made to be 100%. So in most cases, you'll find yourself losing out on one end. Like, it's very hard to be fully 200, that you are very strict and also very soft. You'll find yourself either being very strict
or very soft. True.
Because I've also met single moms that will not let their kid do anything or go anywhere, or because they are like, no, what if something happens, or what, like, you're overcompensating for the missing link. And then I've also met single parents that are very soft. Me, I'm the, it's okay, baby, come here, what? Because I'm trying to like overcompensate somehow. It's very hard. So it's not that kids that grow up with single moms will be too soft. There's those that are like too hard because they grew up with the other very
strict mother.
Exactly. Like, your dad is not here, so I have to make sure you're straight, you get. So that's what I wanted to like just shed some light on.
Sure.
But with how this started, I rarely tell this because people tend to ask me, if that hadn't happened, would you advocate for it and all that. How this started, I break up with my baby daddy, and then it sort of becomes a problem. Like, he would like call and he'll be like, me, if I am not talking to her, I don't want to talk to
her being the child in this case.
Like, if he's not going to go through me to talk to Crown, then he'd rather just not. Like, I will not call the maid. I will not call. And then like, people had an idea out there. Like, they had the impression that I have such a good baby daddy. They would go to places and people would be telling me, hey, Rambi, you're so lucky. You have such a, like, I'm very sure you're, like, because, you know, you're so humble. So I'm sure that your co-parenting situation is nice. And I'd be like,
do you know? What do you know?
That's not true. That's really not true. And then because of the space that I was in, I was sort of forced to start like talking to other people, because I was trying so hard to make the co-parenting work. Like I was actually moving backwards, like breaking my back to make it work. Yeah. And like there were like these unrealistic conditions of making it work. And so I started talking to people like, Banange, they've told me to like do this and this, if I want this and this, and then people would be like, but that's not right. Like that's not how it's supposed to be working. Or like some other friends of mine would be like, by the way, for me, this and this and this and this would happen, and this is how we would handle it. And I'm like, wait, these things are happening to like so many people. And like so many women, and they do not know. Like as a mom or a single mom, or you've just left this relationship, you don't realize that as a parent and as a woman, you have certain rights. Like you cannot force me to stay in a relationship with you simply because that's the only way you'll pay school fees. You get? You cannot force me.
The child does not become
exactly like you cannot weaponize my child against me to like keep me in a relationship or give child support. And like people did not know, like, what do you mean you're stuck in a marriage for the kids? Where do I get school fees from? So then I rant a lot. I rant a lot, and like at that time Twitter was like my ranting space. Like these things would happen and I would go online and I'm like, I cannot believe my baby daddy just said this and this. And like people kept picking up on it. And then other women started inboxing me saying, oh, by the way, me too.
I have this.
But I can't come out and like say it because I've been to your monju. Like I cannot. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I will say it for you. Like people need to know that this is not right. And just like that, before I knew it, it sort of became my identity, but it was never supposed to be mine. I don't think I wanted it to be, because like every space I step in, someone is like, single mother.
So, when I was younger, they would say that when people went to villages, FIDA, there was a time FIDA was so militant. I don't know, people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
FIDA was viewed as a militant women's rights organization.
Yeah.
So they said, when FIDA went to villages, men would scatter. So I guess it get to a point where if Mutuzo steps in a place, single dads will be like, what's she up to? And they'll just...
Yeah, that's the point where I'm at now. Like, people see me and be like, hey. I saw the other day on Twitter, someone was saying, I was talking to a doctor and like they said if I am Mutuzo's friend, they cannot date me.
Yeah,
and I told her, I can tell you one thing. There's a category of men that fear me. Okay, maybe fear is such a strong word, but you get what I'm saying. There's a very small category. A deadbeat, you're a rapist, you're a woman beater. That person will definitely not like Micheline. But if you're a good man, honestly, why would you be scared of? Why are you not running away from me? Because you're not any of those things. I have no reason to bother you, talk about you. I do not have anything to do with you, really.
Yeah, I think I was raised by a single mom. My father passed when I was really young. He was such an amazing dad.
I'm so
very,
sorry.
very amazing man. I can't say so much about him because I was really young, but I do hear what was said about him. And he was such an amazing man. And I think that's why he found an amazing woman, my mother, who raised me and my siblings. And I think, going back to like the conversation that you started with, society has like boxed women of what they can and cannot be or do. And I think I saw that with my mother, really, with what the expectations that were placed on her as a young woman with these 4 little children, what was expected of her, what they even wanted to, widow inheritance, things like that. And she's a strong woman. She stood against these systems. She pushed back. And like you're saying, when you push back against systems that have been normalized for such a long time, people tend to look at you as the enemy. They look at you like, who does she think she is. She's just a woman.
Think she is?
Yeah. And my mother like really pushed back, and I think my siblings are what they are because of her. I don't think we are soft. I don't think we are harsh. I think we are just amazing human beings.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think she did a very wonderful job. And women don't take this credit a lot. Like, they're looked at as the weaker people. And even when there are even relationships that don't work, they think the woman must be the problem. You know,
you did something.
What did you do? Like, that's the question. Like, what did you do? And that's not fair. And I think I'm inspired by your work, because I think this is a conversation that so many people
need to have.
Don't want to have, but we need to have this conversation because these are systems of oppression, honestly. And I know when people hear the word oppression, or that we're building power, they think about
the state.
The state.
Yeah.
They think, but this is where we start, just from the grassroots up. How do we build power even down here as women who are pushing against a system that was built against us, from the very beginning? So I think it's so amazing what you're doing. Because is very powerful.
Yeah, I think, like even in school, divinity, CRA, what we are taught that everything really begins with family, right?
Yes.
The small unit, and then we go to the bigger dynamics of, the state. And I keep telling people, if we cannot correct what's wrong with our family unit, it's going to be so hard for us to correct the bigger things. Because let me tell you, we were on that space where Winnie was talking, and she was telling us about who Museveni was, even back in the bush, or what they used to say about him. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, you see, if we had corrected these things back then, and and not ignored, because you would see someone, you're like, but this person has, these tendencies, but it's okay.
It's not bad.
If we cannot correct these things, that they are still no, they grow up to disturb us, because people keep saying, oh, if you grow up with a single mom, these people, every time, say someone comes out and they're like a serial killer or a rapist or what, if someone wasn't raised by a single mom, people will tend to be like, oh, he had parents, which. If you were raised by a single mom, my God, that's the reason. He was raised by a single mom. But okay, let's for a second agree that when you're raised by a single mom, you probably, what are you doing to make this burden better or lessen the burden? You are claiming if you grow up in a single parent, home, then you'll become all these things. What are you doing to change this? You can't keep blaming me, the single mom all the time, and not trying to hold the other person accountable to be there for their child, to make sure we are not producing these nasty people out in the world. Because people ask me oh, why did you leave? Or what did you do? And my answer is simple. I did not do anything. He did not do anything. I did not, Oscar didn't beat me or cheat or whatever. I simply said, I think this is not a space I want to be in. And I walked away. Why can't you then parent your child? Why does it have to be such a fight for you to simply parent your child? If people are going to say, oh, if you raise a child as a single parent, this and this is going to happen. Because I believe you can parent when you're not there physically too. You get? Because I don't live with my child. And I consider myself a very present parent.
In her life.
Exactly, because I know what she's doing every day. I know what she has eaten. I know what she did at school, who she talked to. I don't have to be there. So why can't you do the same thing?
So let me ask you something. The average human being is taught, is bred, is created to look out for other human beings. Human beings are social beings. So we grow up in families where, on average, your parents will take care of you. The average parent in Uganda pays school fees for their kid and all that.
Yeah.
Now, when it gets to have you tried to understand what goes on in the mind of the average father who is having a relatively well-paying job, is educated, he has what society would say the ideal person? Yeah, of course that is very, very colonial and all, but yeah, let's say that we tick that box. And then the man just decides that, yeah, I have a kid, but I'll not be their life. When it's time for school fees, I won't send school fees. When it's time for this, I won't do that. So, what is it that goes on in their mind where they can do it? It will cost them much to do it, but they just decide, I'll not do it.
I don't know, but I have a theory. I don't know what goes in their minds, but I have a theory. For me, it's ego, or just being a bad person. I sort of stopped making excuses for people. I'm not trying to make an excuse for you. I'm not trying to understand it, because when I start understanding it, you're making me give you grace that you don't deserve. You have ego issues, or I refuse to stay with you, so you've decided to punish me. For me, that's an ego issue. Or simply just a bad person, and not to make excuses, because I know there's cases where we find women also have the issues. So this is not me saying, all single moms are perfect. And for us, we are perfect. You men are just bad people. I recognize that there's women that are just problematic.
True.
You get, because I've had women come to talk to me about their situation, and I'm like, but
You're the one.
Have you seen the role? Have you seen the role you're playing in whatever situation? So I recognize there's those. But in this case, even when I'm talking on social media, I am speaking for someone where you are genuinely, you've tried to make this work, and the man just won't, because they have conditions or things that you have to respect. For me, it's an ego thing. You have your anger issues, I called you last night and you did not pick up,
so I'm not sending school fees.
I'm not sending the school fees. Or I told you, if you want me to give you school fees, the child has to stay with me. But the child at 5, 6, even in the law, a child is supposed to be with.
I think children below 7 years are considered. There's a word for it. I forget the word, but I'll remember it along the way. That those children ordinarily should be with their mothers. Tender years, children of tender years. Yes.
Unless the mom has, other issues with a danger to the child, blah, blah,
mentally
blah, blah.
disturbed and all that.
Exactly. So you cannot now start saying, if you can't give me my child, because many men tend to use that. If you want me to look after the child, mompe.
Do this. There are conditions attached.
Exactly. Mompe, or don't leave the house. If you leave, never call me again. But I'm not safe in your house, or I'm not okay in your house, or I do not want to be with you anymore. So for me, ego, you're just a bad-hearted person. As simple as that. I don't have to make excuses for you.
But have you been shocked by the numbers of people that reach out to you in that regard?
Shocked is such an understatement.
I wanted to actually also ask, because I really,
because I feel
assume there are so many people in this same situation, and whether there is some sort of community that you have built, or are there things beyond also social media and the publicity that you've given this whole issue? Are there other things that you have been doing, or that you plan on doing, to actually really push back against it?
So first of all, I was no one prepared me for what I walked myself into.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Actually, nothing people could have sat me down and talked, trained. I warned, I do not know. No one could have prepared me for the stories I have had, the things I have seen. Sometimes someone will send me a message and I will respond a week later, because I don't know what to tell you.
To stomach it.
I don't know how to answer you. What do I tell you? Do I tell you? I don't. So no one could have prepared me for what. Sometimes I'll even tell my friends, Mwe, someone sent me a message and it said this, and they'll be in shock of what? And I'm like, okay, I will respond 3 days later. But I have I think every day someone or someone will reach out and be like, hey, can I, especially like now when I'm quiet about it, people will be like, there will be very few. But like on a day where I will post
so many people will just wake up and say, oh.
It's like now they have forgotten, or okay, not forgotten, but like they don't feel, they are not reminded fully to like, oh, this is what you're going through. When I post, and like for the next 1 month, I will just be dealing with that. My baby daddy did this, he beat me, he did this, he refused this, he did. And the most painful bit about the whole situation is I have nothing to give. Like besides me listening to you.
Are there organizations that look specifically for women?
No, so I'm trying. I want to start that, but I have been pushing it for like months. I have the whole concept note on my iPad that I keep opening and I like read through, and I'm like because I really don't know where to start. But I want to do it. I have been thinking about it for like a year or so. I really, really want to do it, where we will be catering for we want to be catering for the legal aid, where, because most times I realize every time you're talking to a woman, they really don't know.
They're right.
Yeah, like half the time they don't even know that you can actually go to police and report.
The family protection unit.
Exactly. But then again, those that have gone to report have not been helped. So you're telling a woman, go to police, go to the family protection unit, but then like at the back of your mind, you're like,
dead end.
That's why I was like thinking like
she's going to go there, because at the time they'll go there and then they'll come back and be like, Mutuzo, Mommy Crown, I went there, they didn't help me. What do I do? And you're like, okay.
How do we go?
I have nothing else. I have nothing else.
I assumed, like I thought that could be your situation because of the magnitude of the people that are facing the same challenge. And so I think it's important again that it's very good that you're thinking about it, because I think beyond what we put on social media, there must be something that we're actually doing actively to push back against this kind of injustice.
Because right now, I'm telling you, I will tell people, okay, go to police, what? And then the person will be like, okay, they will say, and then they're like, Mutuzo, Mommy Crown, I went there. I have been going to police for 2 months. And I'm like, that's it. I don't know what else to do for you, because
at this point,
that's about it. So I'm trying to start that will cover legal aid, that will cover the emotions,
support, yes.
Because guys, being a single parent, being a single parent and you have made peace with it. Like, it's okay. I will do this alone and I will make it work somehow. There is being a single parent and you're not, and like someone tells you, me, I just want to kill myself and leave these children here.
Bambi.
And you're like, wait. Someone is like, I am done, like I'm tired. I am tired.
It's really
so there's something else I want to pick from that. There's the obvious, evident, visible backlash sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes from both men and sometimes
women.
very, very vocal women on social media. Are you surprised by that? How do you handle it?
Men, not at all.
You're not surprised by the backlash from men?
Not at all.
Why?
Not at all. Men are men.
Yeah, but also I think it's like, I mean, society has been like that.
Yeah.
So let me just say something about that. There is my big brother Salvador. He tweeted the other day and said he was challenging Ugandan feminists to speak out about the French president, Macron. You know that photo from the plane where the wife...
Yeah, the wife pushed or
so he was saying that, I don't see any feminists tweeting and all that. I said, see, you do it. That was my response, which is always my response. That if an activist is not doing something, go ahead and do it. So why are you waiting for it's not like their role to
If you think it's wrong, say something.
Say something about it. Then when I tweeted that, I think he understood. He came and put an emoji that was laughing and all that. But I kept getting notified about the other comments. One of the comments said, you'll always find a man who is black. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was so nasty a response, but it was more like, you're not supposed to be saying that. You're supposed to be standing in solidarity
with
the men against the feminists. Yeah, that's what I read from the comment. And I was like, oh, interesting. So yeah, that I understand if you say you're not surprised by the men.
I really am not.
But then the women?
The women...
But I'll excuse those women, Mutuzo, in a patriarchal society.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that it's a society. There's this thing they have built of how women are looked at, what you should say, what you shouldn't say, how you should live your life, how you should even conduct yourself as a single mom. Like they have this whole idea of how it should be, even when they have, So even the women, when they show up, I believe they show up in that way. It's because of the patriarchal society, these kind of beliefs that have been entrenched into our minds.
Actually, I will say this. They surprise, yes, but mostly I feel sorry for them. Mostly. Like when I see a woman like abusing me about talking about single motherhood, my mind is like, oh damn. Girl.
You don't know.
Girl, what do you think I did to become a single mom? I didn't kill Jesus. I did not. And I'm not such a horrible person. Bad, maybe. I do not present to be a good person. But I promise you, I did not do something that warranted me being a single mom. I have told you, me and Oscar broke up. There was
nothing extraordinary. No fight.
There wasn't something extraordinary. Like I just woke up and said, I think this is not a space that I want to be in. So I did not do such an extraordinary thing for me to be a single mom. What do you think widows did to become a single mom? Nothing. Like nothing. We've seen women that are assaulted. You get my point. They did not do anything to get to the point where they are single parents. So you cannot come to social media and say, oh my God, because you do not know tomorrow. So for me, it's not surprised. I'm like, what? Then I'm like, I feel sorry for you because you do not know and you don't have a guarantee
that you won't be in this situation tomorrow.
And yes, and usually what pains me about that situation is in the event that you find yourself in that situation, there's a part of you that will feel ashamed to come and talk about it.
That's true.
Because you're worried of
what will she say?
What will she say?
That's the typical life of an activist. I'll give you an example. When we were doing the Parliament exhibition, there's a friend of mine who was a colleague, we used to work at the same place, who got to Parliament. The opposition has a group of people it employs in Parliament, the policy analysts and all that. Like the opposition in Parliament is a whole department. So my friend got employed there and he was earning a good salary, living the life, quote unquote. And he felt like now Parliament was their thing. So when he started the Parliament exhibition, came to me. So in a WhatsApp group, he didn't come to me privately. We in a WhatsApp group where someone posted something and then he came and blasted all of us. You guys, all these, you're nasty people. So many uncharitable things.
You're attacking his bread.
So I was like, should I respond? One thing about those exhibitions is how draining they are, man. You get home and all you want is to jump in the bed from the door. Like you're so exhausted. You've been fighting this. There is a bot who has been on your case. People are saying lies about you. So there's that. Now I got home and I was like, let me just not respond to this. They are cautious decisions I take. There's so many stuff that I see about myself on Twitter. And I'm like, I won't respond. I think it was about 2 months, 3 months later, that guy lost his job at Parliament because Parliament was retrenching and firing some people. And he was so mad by the way it was done. I think he was not given the notice, he was not given salary in lieu of the notice, and all that. And then, like you said, he couldn't come to me, he couldn't go to Agatha because we're in the group and he was blasting us. He was now using third parties, telling them that, they fired some people at Parliament. He wasn't mentioning himself, but saying that there's a group that was fired, it was done irregularly. But the person who hit it out to told me that, it's this guy. And I was like,
I'm telling you.
Now what do you do? Like you were the guy
who was defending
it when the injustice was beneficial to you. And now you're at a point where you want me to do the thing that you call me uncharitable names for doing when it was not, when it seemed like a threat to your power.
It's like...
and yes, Are there many of those women that eventually blast you? After some time you see them becoming the converted.
I've seen a couple, and I have taught myself one thing. When that happens, like there's people that will like send me links of look at her, like she, and I'm like, I can't. Like people expect me to come and be like, yeah,
I told you
this is
so.
my gotcha moment.
What's the Nyankole word for that? Koshashi? Is this what they say?
No, like people expect me to come and be like, yeah, you deserved it. You abused me. This is my gotcha moment. I can't do it. I can't do it because if you do it, then the next person cannot speak up.
But there'll be a next person for sure.
There is always a next person, but the next person cannot speak up because when the other one spoke up,
you mocked them.
It's the same thing that happened with that girl who, like, she bashed me. My goodness, she bashed me so much. And for her, I think her moment it exploded because she really, truly bashed me. For like 3 days, she made tweets about me, she made posts about me, and I kept saying, and I always tell people, please, you're not so far away from being a single mom. Don't mock. You'd rather keep quiet, by the way. You'd rather have it in your mind and like,
I'll keep quiet about it.
You know? And then when she came back on Twitter to say, oh, I am tired, my comment section, my mentions were flooded of come. And then I wasn't responding. Yes, and then I wasn't responding. And people were coming to my WhatsApp. Like, are you not seeing? I mentioned you. And I kept saying, no, guys.
Let's not dislike.
Yeah, like I responded. But even when I responded, people were like, I didn't expect you to respond this way. Come on. And I was like, guys, we don't know the future.
I think it also speaks to, like, generally, like the space, the activism space. Like, people on the other side always think they'll always be on that side.
Yeah.
Like, when we talk about, like, poor health facilities, we talk about bad roads.
Anything.
I remember there's a time when the IGG,
former
IGG said that
current justice of the Court of Appeal. Gonja.
No, not that one. I think she's not.
IGG is Betty
Kamia.
The one was saying that they won't feel the pain.
Potholes that you see. For us, the car that there's a video online.
I posted the video.
Yes, when I'm in that car, that I don't feel the potholes. I will hit them and I won't feel them. So you guys who will,
I want to disagree with you guys because I think that video was taken out of context. Not that I'm defending her.
Yeah,
I think she was not bragging. She was calling people to come to action.
Exactly. She was calling people to action, but whatever
her message was that deep.
Yes, it was that deep that for us, when we watch that message, that's what we see. That
you don't feel it, but eventually they also get to the point where they're feeling it.
Yes, they will feel it.
Yeah,
there's a time when in Kisoro, I come from Kisoro, and there is.
Me too.
Okay.
You're not from Toro.
I am, but it's a long story.
We come from Kisoro. So there's this really bad road that leads up to Magainga National Park, which brings in a lot of revenue. So many
photos to tweet about that road.
The road is really, really terrible. That if you had a sick patient, they would probably die. If you had
from the road, not the disease.
Yes, they would not get to hospital in time. It is so bad. So one time, Kajina, when she was still at URA, not UNRA. Yes, when she was at UNRA, she went with her convoy. They go to Kisoro. They get stuck in the road.
Damn.
They got stuck.
That was such a scandal.
And people were there looking. And they like to say people in Kisoro are, they are for the regime and all that stuff. But that day,
they didn't want to know.
They didn't do anything, and they were like, "This is the guys are supposed to do that to work on this road." Wow. Okay. So it catches up with you. And then recently they organized a blockade on one of those very roads. They're impassable.
See, the thing with the Ugandan society
and
also.
So sometimes you think, I have a good car. It will go. We shall pass. You know, if I get sick, my kids will go to. I will go to Nairobi. I'll go to America.
The problem with Uganda is that
but it catches up with us
eventually, because what I'm saying is that I think no one in Uganda is too rich that their whole family is rich. The average rich Ugandan has a brother somewhere who is a Boda rider, who is struggling and all that. You're the rich guy who made it in the family, but if you're the only one who made it in the family,
so you're carrying the
burden. So if you don't fill the potholes, what of your uncle who needs medication? What of your father in the village and all that? But Madam, as we finish, let me take Mutuzo to the final part of this discussion, the march to parliament. You are big on the march to parliament, like real big. People may not appreciate that, but as someone who was
I did my best. I tried my best.
You did the mobilization of funds, you did the tweeting about it, you did the call for release of it. What really pushed you to that? Did you feel like the bits how did it turn that this became such a big thing?
So here's the thing. I genuinely do not like injustice. Like generally, let's take deadbeats out of the equation for a minute. I generally do not like injustice.
Any form of injustice.
Any kind. But of course, if it's about men, you people should also learn to fight for yourselves for a minute there. But you get my point. I generally do not like any injustice. Now, before people were talking about march to parliament, I told you guys, I am a coward. I cannot march.
Yeah.
I cannot be at the
front line.
Absolutely not. I have this thing called mom guilt that I struggle with. I cannot entirely put myself at the front line of anything, which is why I will admire Agatha, I will admire Winnie, because those guys, they are there. I cannot do that. However, I think I keep telling people everyone is good at something. We all can't be at the front line, honestly, because we all can't go to jail. Someone has to be on the outside to make. So when march to parliament was being talked about, I told people from the get-go, I am sorry, I cannot march. However, I will help any other way that I can. So when I woke up that morning for march to parliament, when I went to work, I went to Spectrum, and in my head, I did not envision it being as bad as it was. Before I knew it, I knew people were going to march, but I swear,
people get arrested.
Before I knew it, people were arrested. I'm like, hold on. I knew this was going to be something, but people are not even out of the, people are not even on the street, and you're arresting them. Yes.
Was it at Garden City?
Exactly. So I'm so I call a few people. I'm like, hey, these guys have been arrested. How do we help? Because there I can try.
I can show up,
yeah. I'm like, how do we help? Do we go try to get them bond? Blah blah blah. And I did not have a car. My car was in the garage. So I call Nelson. I'm like, Nelson, help me with your car. I want to go to, because there were many, and my assumption was we're going to go get them bond and go home, right? So Nelly's like, okay, let me send you a car. While I was waiting for the Senyange,
yeah, very important.
While I was waiting for his person to bring me the car, another group is arrested. I'm like, okay. Before I knew that, now it became, we've been taken, we've been arrested, but we don't know where. So I tell Nelly, you know what? Let me try to move around different police stations. We keep looking for these guys and trying to keep track. Guys, I spent the whole day. There's no police station in Kampala that I do not know now, at least the way it looks like on the inside. Now, so at the end of the day, we realized no one is going home as we initially thought. Everyone is going to jail. And then, so the following morning, I wake up, I'm like, okay, yesterday was bad. So today, we know these guys are going to be in jail for 2 weeks. Let's just take them, supplies. I had some money on me. So I go to some markets. I never remember roads. And I start doing shopping. So the more I did shopping, the more I realized, Bambi, like, I can't just take them matoke, right? Let me also add some rice. Then I would buy rice, and I'm like, so I can't just take them matoke and rice, so let me add some Irish. Before I knew it, the little money that I had was done. So I call Nelson, and I'm like, Nelson, I hadn't bought like a couple of things, like toiletries and all. Could you just help me put some money on my phone? When I come out, like, I don't have cash now, but when I get back to Spectrum, I will refund the money. And then Nelson asks me, because we were in a hurry, because we had to go both to the men's side and the women's side. He asks me a question that in the moment I did not think through it. He says, can I give your number to some people
to send you money,
to send you some money? Now, in that moment, I thought it is people of the people that are in jail. Like, you have your sister in and you send me money, right? So I'm like, yeah. And then in that moment, I think I then called Rama, who also wanted to come with us. And then Rama says, it's okay, in Zija, I will top up. So I even forget about the Nelson money thing. Rama comes, he tops up the money that was missing, and we, because this was like a burden we had chosen to like carry on our own. So you know how Luzira things work. When you get in, you leave your phone at the gate, you switch it off. I left it in the car, we got in. And then when we came out of the women's side, we were still in like a hurry. We had to go to the men's. No, we started at the men's side. When we got out, we were in a hurry
to go to the women's side.
So I did not even bother to switch on my phone. I reached the women's side. We were also there, still phones outside. I did not check. So when we come out, I switch on my phone, and I have thousands of messages from mobile money. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? What's happening? And
Nelson had tweeted your number.
Nelson had put my number on X and said, guys, we need support. This is the number. These are the names. And messages were coming in. People were sending me 1,000. 1,000 shillings. 2,000, 5,000. Yeah, there's people that sent me 100, 500. But let me tell you, most people sent me 5K, 10K, 8. Like, someone sends me 7,500 shillings.
For the withdrawal.
Like, to show that, Bambi, I did not have. But this is what I could afford to send you.
Bambi.
I was in shock. Like, I've never been so I was so overwhelmed by it. And I was so confused. So I started telling the people that I'm with, guys, I don't know what's happening. And then I was rushing to go to Twitter to like say, to like give an update, because we were giving updates. So I was rushing to like go to them and be like, oh, we saw the guys, this is what happened. That's when I realized Nelson posted my number, and now like we couldn't now start giving different numbers to
different.
So it was your number and Agatha's that.
Yes, so we couldn't now add like a third, like to avoid the whole confusion bit, and that is how I got. But initially, it was really me. We had decided to like carry at least me, I decided to like carry that small burden. It wasn't going to be a lot of things, but like I wasn't trying to call people to help. It's something I was trying to do on my own. And then my goodness, Ugandans are so generous.
Yeah.
Ugandans are so generous. They gave, and they gave with their whole heart. And like, I don't know if besides the crybabies that, I don't want to be taken out of context, the ones that came out and like wanted their money, but I don't think there's any point in time where people that were in jail lacked or did not have or felt, less comfortable as they could possibly get in jail.
And I must say that part of that money was what at the start of this, a month ago or so, contributed to Aaron Kiza's bail.
Yeah.
So the idea of getting the money, from how I understood it, was that it would help people get bail.
Yes.
And it eventually did help
and
a lot of.
And it still is, because we still have some of that money.
Still, and I feel like that was the good thing, because people wanted money given to them.
Rent, food, simanya.
In the rare case scenario, you can get rent from another. But
not this one, especially.
And I was also part of the guys that sent out some of that money to people. there was someone who called me from Masaka and wanted money, and I was like, just prove that you paid bail. Sent the things. I called people in Masaka, and all of them were saying, no one was arrested. This should match Parliament. And then I was like, but the guy sent me evidence. When I consulted Agatha and others, they were like, you know what, send him the money. I sent the guy the money. Yeah, so that was a very important intervention in the march to Parliament that we tend not to talk about. The fact that many people didn't march, but the guy who sent that 1,000, that's all he could do at that point. And activism, in my understanding, is that I can't march. Probably I'm disabled. Yeah. Probably. Even if I just don't want.
But we all also can't be on the streets. Like we all can't be there. And there is I think there is an article where which I wrote where I was talking about this very thing, the tendency of us activists in this space looking at those who go to the front line as the only activists. For you, you're not even an activist, you know. So they demean your role in the movement. And that's very bad and dangerous because without you, imagine what would have happened. Are you seeing the role that you played? But also going back to how people fundraise that money, like how people sent in that money, like the power of community, of how just every single small bit of thing that you do matters. Like the 1,000, the 2,000, the 8,000 that was sent mattered so much in that moment. And I think when you talk about when people are coming and they're like, I want my money and all that stuff, I think it goes back to like accountability in like movements. How did you manage to remain accountable?
Truth is, I did my best. So here's the thing. There would be those things that you would like get and you like forget. Like there's times where someone would call me and be like, hey, I'm going to Luzira. I want to like buy sanitary pads for the girls. And like I'll send them like 30K, right? And because I am here looking for, trying to get a letter, trying to get with this and that, I will forget that 30K, right? But what I did is, the biggest thing that I did is when I got out of there, like I had like a 20K and my phone has balance. When Mama came and like topped up, I ended up staying with like a 20K. I went, withdrew that 20K. And then every time someone would say, oh, I want to send you money, I would be like, oh, don't send on that number.
Send on this other.
So when the march to Parliament, like when everyone was, I think 2 days later or something like that, when people were setting to get released, I went to Agora and like we sat down with Agatha
and balanced the books.
And we balanced and we admitted at some point of, oh, there's money that I used that I don't remember what I used for, but really it was for
the same cause.
The same cause. Like then there's those things, oh, I want to go and over the chairman has refused to give me a letter unless I pay 5K. Like that's 5K. It's
you
so
forget
hard
about it,
And but I think we did our best. The balance that we had, we kept to now. Like it's there, but again, it's there for the cause that it was collected for. You get that? If tomorrow people, and this is not an insight for people to go and march, but if people happen to, do that and like they're arrested and they bail, it's there. To come out to help with that. But it won't be paying anyone's rent. It will not be paying anyone's. Not
buying phones.
It's clear to be clear about that. Yes. The expectations need to be
very realistic and related to the movement.
Very clear.
For me, no one is ever going to text me and say, Simanya, I must stand over rent because every year I am sorry. That's the best I can do for you.
Okay.
But yeah.
So thank you very much, Mutuzo.
Thank you for having
me. For joining us on Unyielding Voices, Building Power,
Thank you for having
Oppression.
Me.
We've had quite a number of these episodes now. So they're always posted on YouTube, or you can listen in from the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, like they say, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever. But to the viewers and the listeners, we always encourage you to get active with this conversation. Tell us who you want to host, to be hosted on this discussion. Tell us where you need us to improve.
Yes.
You can even send in some questions. You can say that, I want you to host this particular person, but these are the questions I would want them to respond to. We are very responsive, and this is not our show. It is just for the people out there to get activists telling their story. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening in. We hope that you enjoyed the episode, and we shall have other episodes coming soon. subscribe, share, whatever you do. So
like, follow.
Turn on the notification so that you can get notified when the next episode comes. Godwin Toko is my name. Merab Ingabire was my co-host, and Mutuzo Micheline was our guest today. Thank you and see you next time.